when we started this pod, OpenAI seemed invincible no matter what Anthropic did. It seemed utterly, and everything you can just smell this air of desperation. Oh, we're going to keep headcount flat to manage costs. To we're doubling headcount. To we're going really deep on agentic commerce. To we're basically canceling. And Walmart says it doesn't work. It feels very inconsistent. And when I thought about this, the one thing that I love about Anthropic is it's very consistent about its ICP and goals. It has been very consistent. We know what it stands for. We know what it's trying to do. Yeah, it launches new features. I mean, it's got its new its next version of OpenClaw launched yesterday as we record this. But you know what's coming with Claude and Anthropic. OpenAI, I'm getting whiplash from everything, and the Debbie Downerism. It's not going to last week. We talked about the air of invincibility at GTC and NVIDIA. It doesn't smell like that at OpenAI today, does it? It's just like a downer to be around. And I don't want to try their products because of it. Honestly, to Rory's point, I actually don't want to try their new products. And I literally last night I'm DMing with our chief AF, so we're trying the new Claude app that just launched, but it ain't gonna happen. I don't want to hang out with Debbie Downers.
If we just kind of put that into strategic takeaways, in terms of their pivot, now Sora is getting folded into ChatGPT rather than being a standalone app. Hardware ambitions are being deprioritized, and they're really kind of trying to consolidate efforts. Stopped having such a diverse product set. And then they're also, to your point on headcount, they now plan to nearly double headcount to 8,000 by the end of the year, having said before that they were actually going to keep it flat.
Is there a question?
No, I just want people to understand the context rather than...
You know what it feels like to me, in all seriousness? It feels like it felt like when we started this podcast quite a while ago, but not a year ago, I don't think, that OpenAI was an exception to the rule. You could have massive founder turnover. You could have massive management team turnover. You could have the amount of drama with kicking Sam Altman out and then bringing him back and a dysfunctional board. And it seemed to be the exception that made the rule, that if you had so much momentum in you could overcome it. Now I feel like the downside is rearing its mind of inconsistency. This inconsistency is damaging the company today in spades. We can see the downstream impacts of that massive turmoil.
Yeah, and I'm going to come in here and try and say something positive, but start by pointing out, if we do go back to those first 10 podcasts, they announced the hardware deal with Johnny Ive. If you recollect, I was like, this will never ship. I said at the time, and I actually said right when he was on a high, that I don't envy Sam, because the press only has two stories. We love you, we hate you. And once they've written we love you, there's only one story left. So they're just moving through the to-do list. We've done the we love you, Sam, now we hate you, Sam. Right? And he has brought it on. And, you spend a year talking to the Prince of fill in the blank, the President of France, instead of staying at home and shipping product. Eventually things get disfocused, right? So, but things are never as good as bad as they seem. That's just one of my rules. It was never as good as people thought a year ago. They still have, to your point, Jason, they still own the consumer business, right? And, so job one is figuring out how to monetize that and make that a big ass business. It's hard to believe that there isn't something. The advertising efforts seem to be struggling now, but that's job one to figure out. And then you're right, job two is to figure out enterprise, in particular coding. I mean, they're doing finally the right stuff, perhaps a year and a half later. But it's still clear to me that if you just take a big, deep breath and you were running that organization, focus on the two or three things, get a little more sensible on your financial trajectory, you still have a comfortable chance to be the winner.